I'm here with Jim Humphrey of Humphrey Wrestling. He's also the father of NCAA runner-up Reese Humphrey. He stopped in for the junior duels practice. Tell me what's going on with Humphrey Wrestling these days.
Well, Jordan and I are still running Humphrey Wrestling, and we've got maybe 30, 35 kids who are coming to our practices. We work out Monday, Wednesday at 6:30 at LN, and then Sunday at noon. So we get a lot of guys, maybe more guys on the weekend because they can drive a little bit farther and not have to, you can't do that 3 days a week all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So practices are going well. The kids are getting a lot better. We're excited about where the club's going, so we're pretty excited about it.
What age are the kids that are coming up here?
All ages, we've got all the way up to seniors in high school, but we've got little kids, 6th grade, 5th grade, stuff like that. But we've got a lot of kids up here in the high school level, and so we're getting some really good workouts, and they're getting a lot better.
So the big question is, what's up with Reese these days?
Reese is doing great. School finally got out. They started the Ohio State wrestling camps today. But Reese is going to Poland in August with the university tour. So they'll be over there training for about 8 or 9 days, and then they'll wrestle a tournament right at the end before they come back, which is going to be a great experience, get a lot of international competition. They'll be training with 5 or 6 different European teams. So I think it's a great learning experience for him right before his senior year in college. And you just can't emphasize how valuable those overseas trips are, how you get so much better. And I think a lot of Reese's being runner-up in the NCAA's was all the work that he did last summer going to World University Games in Greece, and he got a lot of good competition. He got better.
Okay. You're a former college coach, and I know you've probably been around the block recruiting. What do you think, good advice for high school sophomores and juniors and even incoming seniors? How do they get themselves out to the college coaches and get their names out there if they want to wrestle at the next level?
I think if you know where you want to go, and you know what division you want to go, and you have a couple of ideas, I would send those guys letters. And then, especially as a sophomore, because the coaches are not allowed to contact sophomores and that. So you want to get in their head early, and then you got to win. It comes down to that. You need to be competitive, and you need to fight hard. And you just got to let them know who you are, and then just update them every so often how your season's going, and just show them that you really are interested. Because I've always wanted somebody that wanted to come to IU or wanted to come to Ohio State. I want somebody to come here. I don't want to talk some kid into coming to school. I want them to want to come and wrestle for us. And I think that's the key. If you can show those coaches that you really want to wrestle for those guys, that's going to make them look at you, give you a second look for sure.
How big of a factor is the academic side of things for recruiting an athlete?
Well, for me, when you're in the Big Ten, one of the Big Ten coaches, I don't want to have to babysit you academically. Okay, that should be the number one purpose for going to school. Now, having said that, I went to school to wrestle. Reese went to school to wrestle. Okay, but I knew while I was there wrestling, I was going to get my degree. If I didn't do that, I was just being stupid. And so I think if I've got a kid, I'm looking at 2 kids and they're pretty equal talent-wise, and one of them's got a 3.5 and the other one's got a 2.5, I'm going to take the 3.5. And so I think it's real important. You need to. You see those commercials on TV all the time by the NCAA that so many 90% of all our college athletes are going to turn professionals in something other than their sport, and that's true for wrestling, for every one of us. And so your grades are really important. So it's important. If you're marginal in high school, I'm not going to look at you. I would never look at you, because if you're marginal in high school, which is just elementary compared to what you're going to do in college, it's not to say guys can't get. They're not focused, but I think you need to be focused in high school too.
Yeah. Buckeyes, second place last 2 years. This year they're within basically a win in the finals.
Yep.
Away
We're
from,
right there.
Right there. What do they have to do to get over that big hump?
Well, we need more than 4 All-Americans. We need more than 3 in the finals,
Mm-hmm.
We've had 3 in the finals the last 2 years, and we've been second both times.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to have some other guys coming through. We need 5 or 6 All-Americans if we're going to win the Nationals now. Iowa's always going to be strong, and they're always going to have good, solid base, and they're going to have a lot of All-Americans. I didn't think they wrestled very well last year at the Nationals. Actually, I thought they wrestled really where they should have been. I didn't think they were that good myself. And I told the Ohio State team that beforehand. Those guys were not going to be as dominant as everybody thinks they are. As a dual meet team, they're tough to beat because they're solid at every weight class. But when it comes to wrestling everybody in the country, I didn't think they were going to have very many champions. They ended up not having any. Which, obviously Metcalf was a surprise. But I had lunch with Caldwell right before he wrestled Metcalf, and I knew he was ready to wrestle. I didn't know if he'd beat Metcalf, because I think Metcalf's really tough. Well, a lot of those other guys who were having great dual meet seasons, I didn't think they were that good. And I thought when it got down to it, there were guys in each of those weight classes that were going to beat you out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I think you can't, there's some guys that know how to wrestle now, it's not just push and grind.
Yeah.
Send that to Tom Franks.
Oh, I'm putting it on flow.
Good.
You'll probably get a nice phone call tonight. Now, last question. Reese has been known to toss a few people. Who taught him that? You?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, he's got good hips. He's never really trained any Greco, but he's got good hips, and we've talked about throwing quite a bit, because when I wrestled, I threw a lot. So yeah, I think I'm going to take credit for that. I mean, he's made up some stuff on his own, but it's the basics of how you throw a guy. You got to extend him, you got to get your hips in, you got to pull him up. You know, those things. I think he understands pretty good fundamentals of what the throw looks like. And then you throw that just crazy talent that he's got, and he's like one of those cats. You just throw him down as hard as you can. He's still going to land on his feet. And so he knows where he's at. He was a gymnast, you know, when he was a little kid, and so he has a real good sense of where he's at in space. And he's just a great athlete, and he knows how to throw. He knows it's not your arms. He knows it's your hips, and he's got some good stuff.
Do you still toss him around once in a while to put him in his place?
No, I quit wrestling. I'm almost 60 years old. And I was wrestling up until about 6 months ago, and I kept, my legs would hurt, my neck would hurt, my back was hurting. I'm going, well, you're just not that smart anymore, are you? So stop.
You could have pulled a Randy Lewis and come out at 49.
Oh, you don't know how many guys have asked me why I'm not wrestling that mastered stuff. And I'm going, nothing to prove, guys.
Well, thank you for the interview. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.